Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Points of Articulation. My name's Dave and today we have another Star Wars Titanium diecast ship, the All-Terrain Attack Pod. Also known as the AT-AP. It is a walker used in the Republic for the Clone Wars. This was seen, I believe, in the Battle of Kashyyyk. It has 3 legs and, oddly enough, even though it's in some video games, I've never seen this in the Clone Wars cartoon show. Which is weird, because this is actually a cool-looking walker. Its main purpose is artillery. So what would happen is it walks on 2 legs. And then this third leg, which I guess it can walk with also, but from my research, it puts this into the ground and uses it to stabilize so it could fire the main gun, which is right here. So, very interesting. Again, this was seen in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And, yeah, I haven't seen it in anything else. Now, it does have 1 pilot and 2 gunners. I guess 1 gunner's inside and 1 gunner's right here, sitting. Very neat walker. So we have a lot to talk about. It's got a neat mold. It's got a cool base. Paint job is pretty spot on. And I guess we'll measure it, put it on a stand, compare it, and then we'll be done. So let's get moving. Okay, let's take a look at this mold, because we have a lot to cover. Now, we have the 3 main guns right here. Each one can move left and right. We have the main gun, or as it's normally called, the projectile launcher. Then underneath, we have this little tiny gun. That is the blaster cannon, I believe. And then on the top, we have our laser cannon. You know what? I think this is the laser cannon, and this one's the blaster cannon with the clone trooper on it. And this could actually spin all the way around, which is a nice touch. So you could have each one of these guns going in different directions, and it's pretty nice. And they are a nice rubbery material. The main body is hard. It's die-cast in plastic. And then the legs are plastic. But back to the mold itself. The guns are nice. They're very smooth, but they have a lot of detail. The main gun, it has that little tip similar to this one right here. And then it comes into basically almost a rectangle. So you can see it's very flat. And then 2 little niches or notches right there, and then it attaches to the main body. This gun down here has a little circle, well, cylinder actually, goes both sides, and a little section right there. It looks like a flat square. And the gun itself, nice. It has like a muzzle and a little lines put in there, very sharp. For this gun, we have our little muzzle right here, nice barrel. Then we have a little seat, clone trooper. Nice little area right here. I love the angles on this. Very cool. We have a little half circle underneath that seat. Well, the gun. And then the seat comes out. We have a little cushion. And the clone trooper is done pretty nice. A little lacking in paint. But it is what it is. And nice handlebars. Now, let me turn this that way. For the main body of the ship. And this is hard to review because it's so, it's got the legs and everything. Very unique design. But on the sides here and on the top, it's basically angles. So in the front slope angle, which is located right here, we have our cockpit on this side and a little hatch for the other gunner to get in. On the top, underneath the gunner, we have a little line going down to the main gun, as well as 2 little sections for support. And on the side, now right here and this side are exactly the same. So we have some nice molded detail right there, some panel lines, and little doodads right there, and a little recess right here. Looks like a window right above my thumb, which is painted black. Just very nice. Okay, for back here in this little basket section, which is done pretty damn good, we have some parts in there, and I can't tell what they are. They're too small, but they are some sort of parts for the walker. Maybe supplies for the clone troopers, not totally sure. But inside of there, can't really make it out. But it's basically flat with some design elements to make it look like it's going into something. They didn't have to put any detail in there. But they tried, so I'll give them credit for that. Okay, now for the legs, the 2 back legs here are exactly the same. They can go that far forward. And that far back where they were. Now this leg has a couple different points. It can bend like this, and also bend at the top. And what's cool is when this walks, like I mentioned before, this would be a stabilizer. But however, let me set up the legs here. This goes back like so. And this is how it would walk before it, puts out this front leg. Now, it does fold up a little better on other toys, like the big one they made. But that's pretty awesome. Now, going back to the bottom here, let me bend these legs up. Back here we have, I guess there's an engine for the legs, which is pretty damn good. We have some nice detailing back here. For the underneath, we have little modules here. Looks like exhaust pipes. It's probably not what it is. Then we have our screws, our copyright crap, and a couple different details down here. Little lines and whatnot. And it's just a very good job on this. Also at the bottom of the feet, we have our screws holding the pads on. And also some details on there as well, circles and little shapes. Now the legs are very interesting to me. We have our little hinges, I guess you could call them, and then the legs themselves have openings, some negative space going on. So that's pretty cool. And what's also interesting is the bottom feet have what looks to be a gear system. So I guess when it moves, it locks into position. Nice touch there. Then we have our little toes, and the pads are actually detailed as well. Reminds me of the feet for Ed 209 or the AT-AT Walker. Pretty sharp. And that's the same for this side as well. And this has a little negative space as well. Just very nicely done. So that basically does it. I'll give it a nice close-up once around. And then we'll move on to the paint. Okay, nice and zoomed in and focused. We have our panel here. Coming around, there's a cockpit. The hinge right there. More of that armor. There's our basket with the stuff in it. Clone trooper and a nice gun. This is a great gun. Really like this model. And again, the nice feet with all that detail. And underneath, which is very obtuse in the film. Nice. So, that does it for the mold. Let's take a look at the paint now. Okay, the main color on this AT-AP would be, I would like to say a dark gray. And that's from the top of the gun all the way to the bottoms of the feet. Now, on top of that, we have our dark maroon, which we have been seeing with many Republic vehicles. And that's located on this side here and on this side of the gun. And also on the opposite side, and also the gun, and on top of the gun, right here. So, what other colors are there? Well, we have some light yellow-green around the barrel, right here for the main gun, and that wraps around all the way. And then we have a, many people call it like baby poop green, but it's like a swampy green right here, like pea soup. And that's on the cockpit as well, right here. And then on the other side, it's right here, going down up until the maroon. Now, that's not all. Besides those colors, we have a painted clone trooper, which is white and black for the visor, and also black right here at the joint for the knee, as well as this side for the knee. And besides that, nothing else is painted on here. The back's not done, there's no belt, nothing. Now, on top of all that, we're not done yet, we have a black wash, and it's not a normal black wash. This wash looks wet. You could definitely see it. It's on the leg. It picks up all the light. Comes down to the pads of the feet. It's on there. It's even on the bottoms. You can see it right here on the smallest one. It's very heavy. Some here. On the back of the vehicle, you can see it's heavy right here on the leg. The basket picked it up good with all the little components in there. Again, on this leg, on the mini leg, on the guns. On the main gun, it looks like a dry brush of black, but it is there. On the main body, it's nice and wet looking. On the front, it's not as heavy, but you can see it on the hatch to get into the vehicle, as well as the front right here. And the Clone Trooper has no blackwash, but the gun does, so that's pretty sharp. And that just about does it. It does have that symbol that we saw in the Republic attack cruiser, so I'm guessing it's from the same fleet. That's located on both sides. See it right there. I love the paint on this. Just like the V19, it has, like 3 different colors or so on. But yet, when you combine that with a nice wash, it's amazing how these thins pop. And that's something that the newer ships kind of lose, that Hasbro's putting out. And I don't get it, because Hasbro makes these too. And the newer ships are good, don't get me wrong, the molds are great. And sometimes they do use a wash. But when they put a little extra effort into it, like these, like when I got this, it was at Target for $8. I think ships now are $4.99 or something like that. Like, if they look better, I'll even pay more for them, and a lot of other collectors would too. It's what we want. We want nice looking ships. And just like most vehicles from the titanium line, it comes with this cool base. There is no pegs on this one. Just a nice forest swampy green with Star Wars. And you just take your walker and place it on there. And there you go, good to go. When measuring the attack pod walker, this bad boy stands just a tad bit over 2.5 inches. So it's a nice sized titanium vehicle, to be honest, and it's a lot of moving parts too. Nice. And here to compare with the all-terrain attack pod, I have it next to the AT-AT. Probably the most famous of walkers besides the AT-ST, the chicken walker. And, in some aspects, I could see some design elements from the pod walker to this, but there's not many. It's basically just a shape, and the legs, how they have those little pads we talked about, just like these have those little feet, or toes, I guess you could call them. Besides that, it's not much. I like them both. I like the Clone Wars era, and I like the Imperial Civil War, well, the Galactic Civil War, you know what I mean. One's for, in back of the lines, firing artillery shells. One's for front-on assault, blowing up everything. So, they're both good. And that does it for my review today of the Star Wars Titanium All-Terrain Attack Pod, better known as the AT-AT Walker. Now, say what you want about the prequels, they did have some great designs, and I believe, in my own opinion, this is one of them. It was basically an artillery vehicle, plant itself in like a tripod and fire this long projectile at its enemy. Very interesting design, very interesting idea. We don't have many artillery vehicles in the collection. Usually it's transports, speeders, basically like an AT-AT where he just goes in and destroys everything, an assault vehicle. So this is pretty cool because not only is it an offensive vehicle, but a projectile cannon like that could be used as defensive. So that's a pretty unique little trait it has. Now, again, this was seen in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, during a Kashyyyk battle against the Separatist army. And I like it. I like it a lot. I think it has a lot going for it. It's got a unique design, not seen with anything so far. It's got decent paint. The wash makes it really stand out. And you got a little clone trooper there. It's got 3 guns. The legs all move. And there's a little display option you have with it. Since there's no peg, you could put this guy any way you want. You could set the legs up any way you want. The choice is yours. Do I recommend this? If you're a fan of the Clone Wars, if you're a fan of the prequels, go for it. For me, it's great. I got this in like 2009 or 10 from Target. It was $8, and it was well worth it. So, thank you everybody for joining me. I hope you enjoyed my review. If you did, like and subscribe for more reviews every Thursday. Also, check out my Facebook. And I started an Instagram. I don't know, I'm new to all this social media and trying to get people to watch my stuff. But, I'm learning it as I go. That's all I have to say about that. So thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.